call December 19th, is it 18th? Today's the 18th. Don't rush it. December 18th, Account and Finance Committee meeting to order. It was continued. I do want to apologize to the public that I did not issue an email that we were going to continue this meeting, but I did get it out about 1:30. I sent the clerk an email. She popped it right back out, so that's done. The reason for the delay is I had a personal item that I wanted to speak to the chief and investigator, and that's my fault. It's hard to get them together and talk about something that personally happened in my residence. But we'll go ahead and start the meeting now. And if you want to get Leo's out of the way, since the police department's here, that's fine with me, Mr. Manager. If you want to. So what do you have on your mind with Leo's today?
There were some questions. The last time we presented this to you about the cost, $69,000, and we had a conference call at 2:30 today with the folks from VRS. And I can't explain it all because I'm still not an actuarial after a 10-minute conference call. However, in 2011, the price was $43,000, is what they quoted us, 69 now. The number of employees now is 12 versus the number of employees then was 9. And it is more expensive per employee, but that does make up a significant amount of the difference.
So what's the total figure now?
Pardon?
What's the figure now?
$69,000.
69.
And it was 43.
Significant.
It's $5,700 per employee. If my math is anywhere close to scribbling previously, and it was $4,700 before. It's about $1,000 more per employee, and it's 12 employees versus 9 employees. Okay. Now, important thing: we could start this in July if we'd like to. Correct. They had noted that they wanted to start in January. There's potential to start in January. So you do have an option. I don't think we gave you an option the other day when we talked about it. If you want to start it in July, which really was my intention with the new budget, is to start it in July, you can. You have that option to do that, okay, if you want to wait that long. Now, the town's retirement fund, or retirement contributions, if you know, the employee makes a contribution and the town makes a contribution as well. And the town's contribution varies every year based on more egghead stuff that I probably couldn't explain to you. But the rate this current year is about 3.64% town contribution, okay? It's gonna drop next year to 1.09, did I get that right? So there's a dramatic decrease this coming year.
Damn, if I looked at the bills today, that's a significant amount of money.
It's gonna go down dramatically on the town's contribution, of course,
Right.
and the benefit stays the same. So if you look at July 1st, the actual net difference to the town for the upcoming fiscal year will be about $10,000, not $69,000, but about $10,000. So the savings that you're getting this coming year on your retirement rate will all but pay for Leo's for the first year, except for about $10,000. Now, that is no guarantee after that.
Oh, I understand that.
No guarantee after
And Mr. Mancur made the point that this is a recurring expense. This isn't buying a air packs. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, we've talked this thing over, not ad nauseum, but a whole lot. It's been with us a long time. We've kicked it around. I think it's time that we went ahead and did something and did it now. Let's put it in effect as quickly as possible. If it benefits us with a little kickback on it, on an initial basis, going up for the town.
What would be?
I'm gonna make a motion that this committee recommend it to the council.
Start
Okay.
January,
All right.
which is fine.
There seems to be some discussion from Mr. Nash. Go ahead,
Well,
sir.
I'll second that first, but
Okay.
what will the cost be effective January for a 6-month period then?
I assume half of that approximate figure. So
I didn't know if it
I'm gonna say
changed.
$35,000.
And that's not budgeted, is it?
We have
No, we have
45,000.
45,000 budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you've got it covered for 6 months.
Well,
And then you only need to put in another $10,000.
Gotcha. Yeah.
we've been doing this together almost 4 years, and the finances ebb and flow. Sometimes we get a great true up, and sometimes we get an ugly one, and sometimes we get a break like this, and sometimes we don't. So I'm definitely going to vote with y'all. I just want to make sure we understand. I think it's in light of the money that's being saved from dispatching, and some of the things that happened in years past, I think we've already obligated ourselves, so I agree with you, gentlemen. And so there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor to proceed to council, recommending the council to go ahead and initiate Leo's on January 1. Is that your motion, Mr. Moncur?
Yes.
Or as soon thereafter as practical.
As soon as you can do it. Yeah.
Okay,
I
all right.
would put it this way, at the earliest.
At the earliest convenience. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, we'll go to council tonight with a 3-0 recommendation on Leo's, okay? All right. Anything else about Leo's?
Anything else?
No, just, of course, I'd like to thank you for the work that you put in and your patience and diligence. And on behalf of all the department, we certainly appreciate your support over the years. And thank you for accomplishing a major feat for us and for you.
Well,
Thank you.
you know how I feel. I wish we could do more. As long as I'm on this council, we'll continue to look for more ways to enumerate your fine staff. I don't know how you did it this year with the short staff. I know the sacrifices that your men made, and I never had a constituent one fuss at me about anything. It's pretty amazing. And I know the demands are getting worse and worse with court. You've got an officer in court, and I saw the response to the personal issue we talked about, 3 patrol cars at my residence in less than 5 minutes. So, thank you. I'm glad to help any way we can. Y'all have anything else for the police department?
So, thank you.
Well done, Chief, well done. All right, next, Mr. Manager? Reserve.
CD rates.
CD rates,
I
okay?
think we've had some responses, and I'll let Jennifer explain it to you very quickly. I think I'll put it to you. In regards to our meeting on Thursday, and the CD rates as well as the 1% over.
Okay,
I think there was some information. I'm gonna talk to the chief very quickly on the front porch.
okay,
Okay.
that's fine. I'm gonna add to the agenda a recommendation to council on the loan for East End is that what we're calling it, Mr. Nash? East End project? Okay, all right. So we can talk about that amongst ourselves while they're doing that, if you want to, or we can talk, if we're gonna make any recommendations or anything, we'll wait for the manager, all right? So, what do we need to do about the loan for East End? Do we need to try to self-fund it? We've talked 2 by 2, which is legal, and I think it's fine, that maybe we should stay within our finance plan that we have,
I
and,
think first, certainly, we do not need to abandon our finance plan.
okay,
We've worked too hard and come too far and are too close to the finish line. If a year and a half is the finish line, to abandon it. I think for this loan and a loan of this size, that we need to put it out on the market. And look for a source of the money. And stay with that program. I think now, if we were talking about a leaf truck or 2 police cars or something, that's entirely different. You can borrow from yourself and pay yourself back reasonably quickly. But if you're talking about something which would normally be over a 10 or 15 year period amortization, I'd rather let the big boys have it.
Mr. Nash?
I mean, I thought we were in agreement that, or not, we didn't vote or anything, but with the idea at the last meeting that we would self-fund it and pay ourselves the interest. I mean, I'm either way. I mean, I personally don't think that we, as the 3 of us, should come up, and I was just talking to Sam and Philip about this, tonight, if we're going to make any recommendation, I don't think we should make a recommendation to do either tonight, simply because it's a lot for individual council members to just have this sitting at their desk and go, oh yeah, let's go ahead and, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do a $1.5 million loan. I think they need to look at it, and we tell them what our thoughts are.
We may have to agree to disagree. I think the CD is cut and dry. I think we've set it out twice. I tell you what bothered me, and I'm gonna apologize to council. I acted in haste and asked for additional bids, and I shouldn't have done that. We asked for bids one time, we should have went to, maybe got the advice of the council. But either way, we'll pull that aside in a moment. Let's talk about the loan now. I'll tell you I'll tell you discussions that I've had, and I now want to share them. So I agree with the four of you that we shouldn't, three of us back up in private. I like that we're in public, okay? But we are entitled to meet individually, and the three of y'all did so before this meeting, and I welcome it. I encourage it. Philip and I have had conversations where we think we can, since the position, don't go off here, I'm gonna need
No,
you.
no, no,
All right.
just get my stuff off the
All right,
table.
Turn
so
that heat up a little bit while you're.
Turn the heat up.
you can dress hogs in here, ain't no joke. So we've talked about it, and since we're in the position that we're in financially, we think we can do this project in 7 years. We can amortize it for 7 years. And I would like to recommend to council that we put out an RFP specific. So there's all this ambiguity and different banks offering different options and different vague closing costs, or the closing costs are included. I don't think it's fair to whatever lending institutions that we ask if we don't set the parameters. So I would make it very simple. And I'll let Philip, you weigh in anytime you want to. He thinks in 2 years of principal interest only and 5 years of amortizing the balance, that the town would be able to handle that without raising rates. So if that's the case, I'm very much in favor of his
Well,
suggestion.
I mean, back in July, we raised rates to cover this.
We raised rates to cover the project.
The East End project.
No, the project out here, the new water line coming in.
No, this was the
I
East
think
End
it
project.
was in Jennifer East End.
East End, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I mean, we did it already.
Right, but we
So
can
we've
do
been
it
sitting
in,
on that money, banking
right,
it. So
right.
that could be our payment to go.
right.
start.
Well, it is gonna be our payment. We got a $150,000.
So everybody knows, keep
Okay.
in mind, if we refinance plan, you guys aren't privy to that, but it is a public document if you want to take a look at it. In October of 2019, two things were going to be accomplished. One, we were going to pay off medical center and pay off one of our bonds. And two, we were going to be done with the reserve fund contributions, okay? We were going to have our reserve funds. I hope we're going to be pretty close. And I'm just sitting down here doing some more calculating. We're going to be mighty close. October of 19, thus the 2 years interest only. We were going to have bonds paid off so I could make cash available, okay? And we would have our reserve funds fully funded, so cash would be available that we don't have to stick into a separate account constantly. Every shekel, $5,000, $10,000 we have left at the end of the month, we don't have to set it aside, okay? Thus the 2 years of interest only, okay? After that, I do believe, and thus the no prepayment penalty, that we can get it knocked out in 5 years, okay? For what we're putting in reserve funds, as much as we're sticking aside, I think we can pay $1 million or $1.1 million back over the course of 5 years, without reservation. I think we can do that.
They have the air tax paid for. The only thing that it's gonna give me a little indigestion is that ladder truck, and you got the inside scoop on that. You feel like we're gonna have to find that money.
I mean, if we get a grant for $1 million, I think we'd be stupid not to.
Well, we'd have
not,
to.
Not to put up 300 of it.
Well, I don't think that wouldn't take a whisper.
Yeah.
I'm
For a
gonna tell you
vote.
what, well, at this point, we were talking about the ladder truck. I haven't seen the hotels even thought about being built that require the use of a new ladder truck
But I will tell you,
at this point.
July 1, we'll make a $300,000 contribution into the fire apparatus intended for your air packs.
Right.
So whether you put it on a truck or air packs, one or the other.
And then you can sell the current ladder truck for, I've heard, close to 100,000. So
Right.
you can knock it down to 2.
By July 1, either air packs or ladder truck outfitting or whatever it is, there's going to be that approximate amount.
Well,
of
see,
money.
there was a time sitting in these chairs that we were worried about our regular obligations, and now we're in the position that, even a $300,000 project was daunting, is now moving some money around. So that doesn't bother me. I just like the idea of a 7-year plan that we can either use the rate increases in 7 years as depreciation, and maybe tackle Fort Pickett, or even reduce the rates. Either one, I could care less.
Philip, if we were to take on the loan ourselves, what would the interest that we would pay ourselves, what would that calculate over the life of the loan? Roughly, nothing.
3% of the, I'm sure I'm missing something, front loading and stuff that they do for a living, do you think 3% over the course of 7 years? 3% of $1 million is what, $30,000? Does that make sense? Times 7?
No,
$250,000?
wouldn't be times 7 because next year you'd be paying less. Your
You'd
principal would be,
Correct, but you can see the
I think,
methodology.
yeah.
so let's figure 2%. 2%, 7 years, it was what? $20,000 a year, $140,000?
So we could be paying ourselves $140,000.
That's right.
That's very poor methodology, but.
Just a
you think-
general idea, yeah.
And if you did it yourself, then you don't have to worry about closing costs, this, that, and the other. I don't, it doesn't bother me either way. I disagree with you about the CDs. We've duly asked for bids twice and we've got the same result. And I move that we recommend to council that we award the 36-month CD to Benchmark for the 1.95 rate. Is there a second?
Yes.
Ma'am?
That's for the 1.5?
No, for the 2 million. That's what we asked council. That's what we asked council to do. That's what we asked permission to. We told council we had $2 million we need to park somewhere, and that's what we did. So,
But you just advertised for 1.5 million.
no, 2 million was advertised the first time. I'll leave that up to council, but
But you just said alone, just a second ago, you said with all the discounts for 1% over and this and that it was all confusing. I mean,
well, it was made clear to me that one of the banks did not have a clear understanding of what was being asked of them, and they felt it was unfair, and that's why.
and I'm not saying we need to rebid or anything. I'm saying the simple fact of we're going to put this in front of council tonight. They hadn't been in their packets. They haven't looked at it.
Right,
Granted, yes, we do the homework on it,
right.
but I think it's asking a lot for a $2 million for 4 other members tonight to sit down and go, sure, yeah, we'll just put our $2 million there. I mean, I think it's wise for us and courtesy to the other council members to just go, here, this is at your desk tonight, look at it, because the next meeting we have, whether it's in a week or at a regular
Well, if they have any discomfort with it, we'll go that route. But that's what a vote's for.
Okay, that's
Because
fine.
I don't see $2 million sitting in the bank for 0.3%,
Correct.
opposed to 1.95%. That's a couple $1,000s a month, and I don't feel that's doing my duty to the taxpayer. So that's where we disagree. We don't disagree that I want the council to be well informed and to feel like it's a decision that we make together.
Yeah.
So if there's any like, wait a minute, I need time to think about it, but I know this bunch well enough to know that the difference in 1.9% on $2 million and 0.3%, I think they could pretty much gather that.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
All right, it's 2-1. We'll recommend the council to award the bid to Benchmark Bank for 36 months. All right, so let's, if we need to talk about the loan or talk about the East End project, involve the council, it's up to y'all, okay? I've told y'all, I sat in the same chair and I didn't have a clue what was going on financially. I don't want that. But I also,
That one has such a big weight. I mean, I think if we can make 140,000 ourselves, and I don't think 3 of us should make it. I think the 7 of us.
absolutely.
So let's wait
So let's
tonight.
have that discussion now.
Wait.
No, it's
I
our
mean, I'm
duty. It's our duty. It's our duty to make some sort of recommendation. Okay. So let him weigh in. Should we self-finance or should we? And then we'll make some kind of decision, or we'll just go to council and have a decision. But it's my duty as chairman of this committee that we make some sort of recommendation to council. Okay. Podium, please, sir.
As you guys may or may not know, B&B's General Services Engineering Agreement with the town has expired, and we have advertised for engineering services and received 3 proposals back. I'm not wholly comfortable with, until we select an engineer, which I think B&B is a logical choice for water and sewer. They've done a good job for us, but we did get some other proposals, and I think at a minimum, as we did last time. Remember, we hired two. We hired Draper Aiden and we hired B&B Draper Aiden for more soft activities like downtown facades and things like that. I think we need to do that before we finalize any item on the project itself or even sign a task order, because we don't have a general agreement to sign the task order on. I think it would be appropriate if both sides agree, both parties, that we go to council and ask them to assign that to a committee, highly charged here. So let's get one or two members of town council to sit with us, and we'll interview folks and get that part out of the way, and then we can get started on the rest of it. But we do
Financial
not.
part.
Pardon?
If I'm hearing you correctly, I see some activity. I'm trying to gauge what's going on over here, and I'm trying to listen to you. You saying it's premature to talk about the loan until you
I don't
get.
think it's premature. I just don't think we have to hurry, because I can't hire an engineer right now until we do some interviews and we get somebody actually formally hired. B&B's with the town 20-some years. We have a relationship. However, we still got to go through procurement. As we've all learned over the past month, we still have an obligation to do the procurement side.
I can't fathom. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I can't fathom where it would go to any other committee but here, and that's
That's
why
fine.
that's why I wanted you to speak. You've addressed his concerns, and now I'm on board with. I understand, but if it needs to be the three of us. I mean,
That's fine.
fine.
However you do it, it matters not.
Whether this is health and ordinance, if we're borrowing money, or we're not going to borrow money,
Agreed.
it's account finance.
And by the time we have an engineer hired, I'll have a plan for you.
Okay.
Okay?
You don't need us to act or make a recommendation tonight on the,
Specifically, I don't need anything because we still have probably 30 days to January council meeting before we can recommend an engineer. Logically, I think we realize that water and sewer typically would be a B&B issue, but it's not a done deal until interviews and the proposal reviewed. Okay?
So the three of us moving forward, we voted 2-1 that we're going to ask council to park this money, and number two, it's premature to ask them about how we're going to finance it. Is
it
that
sounds like from the
Come
memo.
on.
is that your consensus? Is that your opinion? Is that your opinion? All right, so I don't think we need to take any action on that. I will say this: whatever we do going forward, let's take our time. If we're going to ask lending institutions to give us a price on a financial vehicle, or whatever the heck you want to call it, okay? Then I think we ought to sit down and we ought to spell it out on our terms, what we want. We want fixed rate, we want, lollipops with every payment, whatever it is. I think we ought to spell it out. This is where it is. I don't think the practice of getting on the phone and Philip calling around and saying, hey, my finance committee wants a price on this, that, and the other. I think that's my mistake, and I'll take the blame for that, okay? I think going forward, we need to either bite the bullet and hire someone, which I don't think anybody here wants to do. Tell me if I'm wrong. We're able to have this conversation. Sounds like you want to finance it in-house, is what I'm hearing. Okay. Well, I don't want to pay Davenport $50,000 to tell us that that's what we need to do. Okay. So if the majority of us want to do it in-house, we'll figure out a way we can do it in-house, and maybe we do it in-house and have a line of credit with one of these local banks as a backup. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So that's fine. So but I just going forward, I think I need to be a little bit more cautious and a little bit more definite in when we start tying up bankers and tying up people, and we've got two bankers in here wasting their time today. So it bothers me immensely. I apologize. I don't like the way it was handled. Going forward, we need to be much more precise and clear to our business partners. And I didn't mean to cut you off the other day, but we don't need to give each other love fest. I know what our relationship is with your bank. And so does the council, okay? All right? Do y'all have anything y'all want to say?
Just the fact that the next request will be in writing is great.
Okay.
That will
Yeah.
help us immensely and
Right.
provide you.
Yeah, I think it was childish on my part for me not to have thought of that earlier. And when we started talking about this back in October, we should have started talking about putting it in writing. It's always easier. I hate for good friends to have a disagreement over something silly as not putting it in writing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the idea of I think you addressed this the other day, the idea of the relationship and so what value that was to us in regards to them lending, just like with your car dealership, there's some value for this particular dealer with Gap or
Right.
you know.
Right.
And so there's a layer there that helps your business, it's the same thing.
Well, you missed out on an outstanding meeting that Mr. Moncur, Mr. Van Norbeck, and myself had with Cedric and Joe, okay? And we went all through that, and I thought it was a wonderful meeting. And so, make it abundantly clear from me, our relationship is not discounted at all. It's just have a fiduciary duty with the taxpayers' money.
We pursue loans.
So the relationship is different with a corporate municipality than it is with a S-chapter corporation. You know, where the value added in could be our relationship. We don't have that luxury of the value added in with the taxpayers' money. Does that make sense? Where I know I can pick up the phone and I can call Cedric and say, I need so-and-so, that's priceless.
Right.
But it can't be factored in dealing with taxpayers' money. And it's just, it is what it is.
Only when the money, and I'm glad that, you know, a community bank such as Benchmark got this, because when you move monies outside of your communities, that does affect your taxpayers.
And that was part of our great discussion, and you pointed it out to me respectfully, and I appreciate it. And it was, the point was well taken. We need to keep every dollar we can circulating in this county. So I'm glad you seem to take this well, and I appreciate it. And the next time we need any kind of financial vehicles, or whatever we want to call it, I'm going to do my very best that it's concise and that you're given plenty of time. And if there's any ambiguity at all, you can pick up the phone and call Philip or call me, and I'll get these gentlemen together and we'll make sure you get the answers you need. Okay? All right?
Very good.
All right. Any other business? All right. I want to I want to add this to the agenda since I have y'all. Thank you. I want to add this to the agenda. I want to talk about, we've got a check policy. Do you have your council package, guys? All right, I'll read it to you. If you will, share the check policy under the public hearing. No, you two look at it. I've got it. So I want to call your attention to the check policy that we've discussed. And I hate to throw this on you, Philip. I came down here earlier and wanted to talk to you about it, but I'm glad that y'all had that time. I am. And we have that time legally, I'm glad. I just had a couple of thoughts when I went over the council package. So when y'all are ready, I'll read it to you. The town of Blackstone check policy. The treasurer is authorized to collect. I do not like that. I would like that. I'm asking the committee to change that to the treasurer shall collect a fee. Okay? And I'll tell you why. It opens the door. The two things I don't like about it. Number one, it could put the treasurer, the town manager, or the financial director in a pinch that you've got to make a decision. Instead of you've been told by the council, you shall collect this fee. Okay? The other thing, it does lend the opportunity of an avenue for favoritism. But using the word shall, as we've discussed many times, it means you shall. Okay? So is there any objection from you gentlemen on that?
I will ask, can we not make a motion on this? And because what's in here in this public hearing?
Yeah, it's a public hearing. I'm saying I want to recommend we make the changes.
Tonight after the public hearing.
Right.
I'd rather you do that
Yes,
than
yes.
us come
Right.
up right now and say, all right, we're gonna tell the council that's what we're gonna change.
Well, we can do it two ways. And now
I'd rather you just bring it up because
Okay.
this is what's been advertised.
that's right.
So I don't want to change it
Yeah.
right before anyone
That's
hears
fine.
it.
That's fine. But I'm trying to give you the courtesy of what's on my
No, that's
mind
fine.
instead of springing it
I
on.
agree. It should be shall instead of authorized. Authorized makes it to where she can pick and choose who.
I didn't want to do this, and you two sitting down there in the corner. What in the heck is Green up to?
Yeah.
Okay, we can handle it any way you want to. I just have indigestion with it. Second item, if you'll look from the second to the last sentence, it says the treasurer may also refuse to accept checks. That to me should say the treasurer shall refuse to accept checks. It's the same principle. Any disagreement or any heartburn with that?
So say if I write a return check, let's write a check with balance.
Mm-hmm.
I can't write a check until 24 months after that.
This says that
I can begin writing again.
This says that you get two boo-boos, and then The treasurer, if you did if you did the way I'm proposing, the treasurer shall refuse to accept checks as any form of payment from anyone who has twice given such checks to the town within a 2-year period. So basically, you got to be good for 2 years. You have to wait after you bounce 2. You got to wait 2 years. Is that what it's saying?
I understand you.
Before you bounce another one.
Well, I don't like, I agree with you, but I don't like the fact that there's no discretion in this thing. That's probably one of the hardest jobs of anybody in this whole complex.
Today's cutoff day. You ought to hang around here for today.
Because you're gonna hear every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a reason and excuse and a sob story.
You're saying that, I don't mean to interrupt you, sir, but you're
Well,
saying
let
that,
me finish.
well, I want to make sure I'm listening to the right train. I might be at the dock trying to get on a boat, okay? You're saying that you oppose this because there's no discretion? Is that what you're saying? Or there is discretion?
I said, I am considered thinking about it because I think there needs to be a degree of discretion for responsible people to use.
Okay, all right, I'll hear you out, disagree with you, I'll hear you out. There is discretion in place now, that we've given the town manager the authority to use discretion, and he does on cutoff days, he works with people. I don't have a problem with that discretion, but this is when the cash is tendered, when you're given a legal document. So if Joe Blow citizen on X Street has a problem,
Would this preclude the town manager telling the treasurer, let's give this person a chance to pay by Monday?
I think the reason we're here today is because of
I don't want to be cruel.
extending
well,
courtesy already.
we're not taking, I'm not asking to take away any of his discretion or any of that. I'm just asking is when he said he's made a deal with Joe Blow that you'll bring me $100 a week from tomorrow because you get paid then, that check is good. That's what I'm asking for. Okay, I don't want to, I agree. And I've heard that's all he does all day is
Why don't we do this?
okay.
Middle of the ground. Leave the first sentence. The treasurer is authorized to collect a fee. Okay? Is authorized to collect a fee. But leave the shall in the second sentence. That you shall refuse to accept after 2. That's the issue.
Okay.
The issue's not collecting the $35.
Does that
$35 is great, but it's not going to change the
Is
world.
that being charged across the
It's
board?
the precedent issue that we're trying to resolve here. Leave the shall in the second sentence. The fee, $35, it's not going to change the world. Just leave that as it is authorized.
okay? You said the second sentence. You meant the second from the last sentence.
The
Leave
treasurer
shall.
shall also refuse.
Okay. Well, just shall refuse, not also.
Shall refuse to accept checks as
Okay.
a form of payment from anyone.
All right.
That's the precedent issue.
Okay.
Not
So
giving-
leave the treasurer is authorized to
Is
collect.
authorized to
Okay.
collect a fee.
Okay. Well, that compromises to your position, Mr. Mancur. Is that correct?
Yes, but not irreparably. I just don't want to be locked into something that is so rigid that even bona fide excuses no longer can be.
Well, it looks like a Mancur. It talks like a Mancur, but it's not a Mancur. What's going on?
I don't know, I can't tell you.
Well,
You can look
It's
at it.
Christmas.
No, it's not.
no, I just don't. I think we've got a disconnect here. Okay.
Grinch.
I understand what you're saying, and I think Philip's done a wonderful job, and they do a wonderful job dealing with the community when you're in a bind and a pinch and all that. I don't want to take any of that away. What I do want to take away is that somebody makes a good faith agreement with Philip or with the treasurer and says, "I'll bring you a good check next Friday." They bring a bad check, okay? I don't want to allow people to give. Hey, look, you spoke meals tax check that bounces, then we got problems. That's what I want. But I'm not asking to take away any of his discretion. I'm just asking that if you're gonna have a check policy, that there's some meat to it.
I can see.
All right, where are you, Mr. Nash?
I mean,
Leave the first as it is and put shall refuse, and
that's our issue is.
okay.
The issue is not the fee, the issue is the number of checks.
Are all people being assessed the fee of $35 or not?
I think,
If they write a bad check, we have to.
I think we're getting the
pass that
fee.
through, Cause we're getting charged the
Well,
fee.
I think if that's the case,
But
the fee is
separate.
getting paid. I can show you the report where the fee's getting paid. The issue is continuous bad check.
well, I don't disagree with Philip a whole lot, but I would be of the aspect, let's put shall on both of them.
Okay, that's where I want to go.
Because, I mean, we're already doing it.
But isn't the fee a separate ordinance as itself anyways?
No, this is the same in here.
But the $35 is a separate.
It's already charged. There's a separate
Right.
section in our
This is
Code.
strictly to cut off you having to chase bad checks
bingo.
because you can't do it for $35.
I was
Correct.
hoping, and I'm glad I got the answer, that everybody is charging $35 fee.
Right.
Because I was hoping that
I do not
if
know
Zach,
if
if
anybody
Zach
has-
writes a bad check, oh, it's Zach, we're not gonna charge him a $35 fee.
To
No.
my knowledge, I have to check with the treasurer, but they don't waive that, cause we have to.
Yeah,
pass
you
it
get
through.
charged.
We get charged.
Yeah. So I would prefer,
Yeah, well, you know where I stand. We'll talk to Sam here in a minute, but you can't collect the money for $35. You're going to pay that. Then you got to go through the hassle, and it just needs to be. That's why all this has started to eliminate that
We want to
problem.
eliminate bad checks.
You're codifying something that you've done in the past that you haven't been consistent with.
This is being codified because
Right.
it has been forced almost completely across the board.
Right.
That if you write a bad check to it, you can't write another bad check. And so we want to put it in writing and have something fall.
I don't want to take all day, but I do like when the three of us are in lockstep, Sam. I mean, I agree with Mr. Nash. It should be specific with no ambiguity.
Are you looking for me?
I'm talking to you.
Da-da-da.
I agree.
Okay. All right, I just don't know where this new moniker came from.
Well, it's just that,
Got it all on the sled. He said.
Oh
I
my
know
gosh,
everything
man.
is not entirely black and white.
Well, I don't want. The
Well,
only
I'm not
thing
getting into that.
I don't
We're
want
talking
to
about
take
what
you
you're
that
thinking.
way. It's just
You're asking
wrong.
what I was thinking.
It's just wrong to keep writing bad checks, man. You know, this is a corporate municipality. This is not. I mean, most towns wouldn't. I don't think many towns would give him the flexibility to do what he's doing. It would be pay the light bill and come cut you off. So I don't want to take any of that away. You know.
It's not way out of hand, but I can tell you it's cutoff day. Yeah, we've been messing with that quite a bit today.
Well, we
Everybody's
get
scrambling
taken
around trying to get
advantage
money.
of every now and then, and that's what.
Well,
You're trying
no
to
good
remove-
deed goes
We gotta
unpunished.
collect the money. I do have one thing I'd like to add on.
'cause I gotta go to work.
All right, last thing. When asked by the mayor, 2-3 weeks ago, give me the gist, he sent me an email, give me the gist of our bad check policy. And I said, we're not raising the rates or the fee. We're just trying to say 2 years, 2 bad checks. That's the deal. No increase in fees. When I was writing the board packet, I opened up the packet and there was an ordinance that said the fee would go up to $50. So I called the mayor and said, I think I boo-booed. I'm sorry. I think we're going up to 50, but that is not the case. Graciously, the mayor did say, well, we've advertised a public hearing. If it's a higher fee, we can always go back down. So if he looks at me like I'm from Mars tonight or you guys, it was never intended to go up on the fee. I saw an old ordinance in the file and I said, God, what have I forgotten? And called him because I had told him in writing one time previous. So not only did I skunk it up the first time, but I skunked it up the second time. So it is not a fee increase. Staying at the 35.
I just ask you to think of one thing. We have double jeopardy in these United States. Okay, we're discovering a lot of things that we're fixing as we go. Okay, so I don't want us to be but so hard on ourselves for making some boo-boos when we were unscrewing light bulbs, opposed to we're arguing about whether we need to park $2 million. So there's going to be there's the most tremendous growing pains, and I appreciate that you're humble and you say I'm
I told
making
him wrong.
mistakes, but
Yeah, right.
but let's don't lose sight of the big picture. And the big picture, you and Jennifer, and now your help across the street over here, is just an amazing turnaround. Probably unprecedented in the Commonwealth, you know? And so let's don't lose sight of that. And we're in making all this progress and making all this change, we're gonna screw up once in a while.
Yeah,
But when I judge a mistake with one of my athletes, with my children, with my employees, the first thing I look for is malice. And if there's not any malice there, then I look and see, can we use this as a learning?
but heads up, we may be sitting in this meeting tonight, and the mayor
But
said,
that's fine.
oh,
That's
oh,
fine.
wait a minute.
I just want to say we're going to make mistakes from time to time. You know, Jeff Gordon said one time he didn't mind getting booed because, you know, you got to be doing something to get booed. Okay, so I think we may have kind of had a rough week, or I've had a rough week as chairman, but in the long run, look at what you've done with staff and with our backup, okay?
It's a
All right.
team.
Yeah.
I told the guy this
Pretty
morning, I said,
special.
we gave the big ideas, but Jennifer, make sure the auditor doesn't. I'm not reconciling.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it, and look, it's great that we can agree to disagree, and I appreciate the civility. Any other business? We're adjourned at 4:13, we'll see y'all tonight.
2.5 hours.
Is it on?